Lake Gatun, 85 feet above the oceans. This old film demonstrates his idea. Stevens designed a set of 3 locks on either side of the lake to lift and lower ships over the mountains to reach sea level on the other side. For their time, Stevens' vision and the lock scale were monumental. No one had ever built locks 1,000 feet long, 110 feet wide by 85 feet deep. With 18-foot diameter water pipes big enough to hold a railroad car. Each swinging lock gate would be 65 feet wide and 7 feet thick. Manufacturing the massive amounts of steel for these gates soon kept every steel mill in America busy. It took 4 years and a workforce of thousands to complete the locks. At the time, it was beyond everyone's wildest imagination that someday these locks would be too small. Meanwhile, armies of men were trying to blast, dig, and shovel a channel through the mountains.
Working through the Gaylord cutter constructing the canal was actual engineer's nightmare. As you can see, the type of material that you have here is very, very bad material. And even during the excavation works, they were creating landslides.
After every landslide, the workers had to dig out. By the time they finished carving out Gaylord Cut, they had enough dirt to fill a trench 55 feet wide and 10 feet deep from San Francisco to New York City. The Panama Canal finally opened in 1914. It had taken 30 years, $400 million, and more than 30,000 lives. It was heralded as a marvel of extreme engineering, a testament to the unlimited potential of human ingenuity.
Connecting these 2 large oceans is basically almost the same feat as putting maybe a man in the moon, the same target, the same determination.
Few people going through the canal today know the extent of human sacrifice required to build it. Certainly the past is not on Dave's mind as he pilots the oil tanker. He's now halfway through the Gaylord Cut, in the narrowest part of the canal. Any mistake now, even the slightest wrong turn, and you could ram a rock face and crash the ship.
Is this your radio? Can we maybe get rid of that frequency?
Yeah.
But for those without Dave's 25 years of experience, there's a safer way across the canal.
Roger. Slow ahead. Slow ahead.
In a 360-degree pilot simulator, one of only 4 like it in the world. In effect, it is the greatest arcade game of all, giving a pilot in training the full experience of a virtual canal crossing, complete with every nightmare scenario, from thick fog to loss of power, collisions.
Come on, we're heading for the bank. I need you now.
Heavy swells, and 100 more dangers. Right now, pilot Jeffrey Robbins has his hands full. He's guiding a virtual oil tanker through Gaylord Cut.
Amistad, I need you.
And he's just lost an engine.
Come on, get that line up.
He radios the captain of a nearby tug for help. He and his first mate are fighting to keep the ship from grounding on the bank. They could cause a massive landslide, shutting down the canal. Millions of dollars would be lost, and heads would roll.
Okay, Unidad, stop and line up to keep that stern away from the bank. Way around
Luckily,
the port.
it's a near miss.
Yeah, everything's okay.
And yet, even the best training for pilots cannot protect vessels or the canal itself from the greatest danger they face: landslides. They occur on the canal on a daily basis. In 1915, just a year after the canal opened, 8 miles of earth along the banks of the Gaylord Cut collapsed into the channel. The danger remains because of the unstable structure of the soil, layers of rock, clay, and shale. Not only are the banks unstable, they also slope at an angle towards the canal. When it rains, water soaks into the porous layers, adding tremendous weight to the banks. Then, gravity does the rest. It is an endless problem. Every day, all year round, dredges scoop out what has slid back in. They've been at it ever since excavations first began on the canal in the 1880s. Today, state-of-the-art dredgers like this one can haul 125 tons of mud and rock in a single scoop. On any given day, they dig up enough mud to fill 170 Olympic-sized swimming pools. If engineers start widening and straightening the canal for the megaships, they'll have to dredge out enough mud to fill up millions of swimming pools.
I think that the earth moving, which is the name of the game here, is going to be key. As the ships get larger and the draft gets deeper, dredging will be required to be more precise, and the demands on the production will be greater.
But dredging alone won't be enough to widen and deepen the canal. They will also have to blast, which raises the risk of even more serious landslides. But engineers have no alternatives, so it's a risk they'll have to live with. Just ahead on Extreme Engineering, can engineers safeguard the canal against catastrophe? Dave's oil tanker has made it safely through the Gaylord Cut. He must still navigate the Pedro Miguel locks, which will lower him 31 feet to Miraflores, another man-made lake. The proposed new locks will be built right next to the old ones. Smaller ships will continue to use these old locks, while in the future, mega ships will use the new ones. Construction of these new locks is the greatest challenge facing engineers. To find the best possible design, Panama has created an engineering competition rivaled only by the contest to rebuild the World Trade Center site. 2 design teams have emerged. An American team will create a design for the canal's Atlantic locks, and a European team will conceive the locks for the Pacific end. The American team is the canal's original builders, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They're excited to do it all over again.
If you're a civil engineer and you love big projects, it just doesn't get any better than working on the Panama Canal.
For the 85 years that America controlled the canal, Panama's geology was always the biggest headache, and geology is going to determine how the Corps builds the Atlantic locks.
The Atlantic side has the softer rock, Pacific side has very hard rock, and that means that makes a lot of difference in the type of structure that you design.
To construct new locks in the soft, unstable rock, the Corps is looking at new technologies. Now in use on the Ohio River in Olmsted, Kentucky. For 5